Allison. Let me tell you, my friend, it's going to be hard.
What's going to be
It's
hard?
going to be hard not eating any carbs during Taco Tuesday night.
What do you mean? You can use the meat and the cheese.
It's a texture thing with tacos. It's very tough. Plus, my taco holders are in. It's going to be hard. Also, we need to put our bed together so that I'm not beat up during the middle of the night.
I put it together
by that
often.
person. And we need it again, too, so I have the blanket under me. It's very hard for me to do. Very hard. But our child came into the bed in the middle of the night. You guys with kids know this. And then there was another one, and they T-boned us all night. And we were just up, and it was miserable. But we, today is Taco Tuesday. We're happy. Alice and I, we are still in drug and alcohol rehab for the time being, although I did make a procurement. I mean, somebody I know made a procurement in a break glass in case of emergency procurement. And Alice, I don't know if I'm all that interested in the procurement. Am I allowed to mention the procurement?
What's the procurement? Go ahead.
The procurement I bought in the cute little bag last week?
Oh, I guess you could mention it. There's no FCC here.
Right. Yes, I did procure some, and this is embarrassing for me to say as an adult, edibles. But I'm not a weed guy, and I'm the more time we've had when I haven't used it, which is like a week, the more I think that I'm not going to use it. I mean, I like to drink or not drink. Those are the two things for me. I'm not really a stoner. I
don't do weed. I just don't. No judgment. I just don't do it.
And also, like there's this medicine that you can take that'll really kill your desire to drink in excess. Mm-hmm. That's not really how I operate. That's not my fix is not really that. I'd just rather not drink if you're not going to get buzzed.
But I think, I think it does make you not as like buzzed from drinking, but it kills the need, like when you drink, the need to drink more to like maintain your buzz and like wanting to keep the buzz. It's like, that's when I've talked to people who take that drug that keeps
really?
them from drinking.
How
that it makes you able to like have one drink and not like be looking for the next one.
That's interesting because you'd want to be able to toggle that on and off, wouldn't you?
Well, I guess you could quit the drug. I don't know how much you can like either take it or not.
I think
take
you
it
can.
or what.
I think you can take it.
Yeah,
or
I
not
think
take
you can
it.
take it like before you go to an event or something.
Because like if you made a decision to never drink again, then you don't need that drug. Well, I mean,
it's supposed to be, and like there
Right.
have been studies that are pretty critical of like AA and 12-step programs and most sobriety programs. I mean, virtually all rehabs. It's absurd. Virtually all rehab has like no proven success rate that's any better than people not doing rehab. Like rehab, I mean, like sure they work for some people, but also some people just quit, and like so they don't have a success rate that's like clinically provable beyond just not doing rehab. Like all rehab, and like because they're all covered by insurance, no matter what they are, they vary wildly, and like there's not a lot of, I mean, like total sobriety I think works for a lot of people in whatever form, but for some people, it just might not be the thing for them.
Yeah.
Like, and so, and this drug does work for people. So there's been sort of a debate amongst like sobriety research. Like, are we doing this wrong? Sending people to rehabs? Like, maybe we should just be prescribing people a drug. And
I guess that's a good point too, because, well, then again, like if you fall off the wagon, we should talk to somebody who's taking it. If you fall off the wagon, or let's say you have a real bad night, or and it throws you off, and you've been on the wagon for a while and you're behaving generally. Mm-hmm. Like if you are having a bad night and you fall off the wagon, don't you kind of want to get drunk?
Well, yeah, that's like mostly why I drink, is like medicinally.
Well, right. Well, same here.
I consider it a treatment for my anxiety and like when I feel down, which is not what. Don't try that at home, kids.
No.
Not why they tell you to drink.
No, it's not. I know it's not healthy, but it's very logical.
And it works. Except it doesn't, because it's like a vicious cycle, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I guess so. But also,
because like you said when we were starting the show, you were like, "You're not anxious today." I'm like, "Yeah, because I didn't drink yesterday, so I have no like up and then down crash where then I want to drink again because I'm anxious again." So
right.
So now I'm like, "Oh wow, this is maybe how like normal people feel all the time. That's great." Wow.
Right, and we're not Sid and Nancy here, guys. Just in case they're asking, but we're also not Carol and Jim Brady. What's Mr. Brady's name?
I don't know.
And the Brady Bunch, Bob Brady, Richard Dick Brady.
I don't know.
They'll know. Anyway, so just anyway, this is just some of the stuff that we
Anyway, but I feel great because I didn't drink tonight, so that's great. And I don't need to do your edible. I think you should find somebody who wants them and give them away because I don't think we need them. And I'm like petrified of a kid finding them somewhere. Like I feel like we cannot hide them well enough. From
highly on brand for Shadow Kids to find those. It'd be high out of their minds and us to be booked outside of the emergency room.
So yeah, we're not.
Especially since I put them in their room.
Stop. He didn't.
He
didn't. Social services, he did not do that.
Here's another thing about the edibles. I don't smoke enough pot. Like the last time I did it was with somebody who's related to me and possibly you close to 9 years ago.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly.
And at that point, Alice, I think
you were really sick.
In other words, I was barfing on my lawn because I wasn't used to it. So
I don't do well with weed. I tried weed when I was like in college, and it doesn't agree with me. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have what, and everybody's told me I've had the comment. You don't need to email me, guys, like about your weed that's organic and you know the person who grows it, and like because I tried all the people who have like their weed is different, and it's not. For me, it's not different. Just weed itself just doesn't do it for it. It doesn't.
Right.
I don't have what you have when you do it, I guess. People that do weed, it doesn't relax me. It stresses me out. I don't like it. So that's
right.
That's that.
I'll get us some fentanyl. We'll see.
By the way, how did you celebrate Juneteenth? I'm curious.
Was that today?
No, it was yesterday. It was observed. Because the 19th was Sunday, but so it was a federally recognized holiday, so we observed it Monday.
I am actually building a huge sculpture of a hair pick for our lawn. So I think that the Emancipation Proclamation is something to commemorate. I don't think anything should be done in the wake or from George Floyd's killing. I think that everything that has sprung out of that is irrational and insane. Nothing should have ever been done as a result of his killing, other than prosecuting the killer, which they did, and he's now incarcerated. That's it. From the burning down of cities applauded by the media to the getting rid of statues, including Abraham Lincoln, it's all been insanity. And anything that springs from that, I'm not for. So I'll take another look at Juneteenth and how it's very important that people in Massachusetts who had done their abolition thing decades before, I don't know why we need to now suddenly know when Texas was told that there was no more slavery. Was Texas even a state at that point?
Yeah.
The sesquicentennial was 1989. So that would have been made it, I guess, 1830s. That would have made it. Okay, fine. What does that mean? If there was still slavery, it's all part of the irrationality of the George Floyd thing. Everything there has to be turned back, and we can start having discussions again. They took the word plantations out of Rhode Island and Providence plantations, which was not plantations as in slave plantations, but it felt bad plantation-y, so they took that word out of the name of the state. So much. Remember cop shows? You couldn't show them for a while. You had to hide all the things to do with cops because it was undo all of that stuff. Roll back the clock.
So, and I think we mentioned this on a past show too, but we were talking to somebody and we were talking about how the rule of thumb thing is like completely just made up. Mm-hmm. Like that's not a real thing. But I bet you could just start making up things like that and tell them to people on the left and they would just adopt them. And then like a year later, you'd see them in your own company's diversity training and know that it was just something like you just made up. Like, I mean, yeah, I think you could just make up things that come from things and tell people that that's what it is.
It was mass hysteria then, and along with idiocy and along with political cynical opportunism, and that was it. It was dumb in mob mentality. This was somehow white upper middle class people suddenly were susceptible to feeling guilty for all the things they had, and so demanded that the entire country go through these rituals that activists demanded of them. And they wrapped their minds around it and said, okay, yes, that totally makes sense. That totally makes sense. We'll take the police out of the communities with the shooting. That makes sense, absolutely. And so, no, it's all been bad. Everything there is a disgrace. Everything that came out of the George Floyd killing is a disgrace. Every damn thing. And, police are coming around now, and places are coming around now, getting rid of Chesa Boudin and this and that, etc. That's on you, effing people. That's not my fault. I'm not adopting. Tom Shattuck stopped culturally growing more woke in 2020, right around the time George Floyd died, and I thought it was a bad killing. That's where I stopped. Cut off right there. I'm not with you on telling the rioters to go out, even though there was COVID and it would be healthy because it's a public health thing, even though you had 170 people sign the thing saying, yes, you should get outside and protest. I'm not there with you. My mind stopped developing right when you all went fucking nuts. And I'm not going to, go over and change anything about my life based on that idiocy. It was stupid from the beginning, and I'm not doing it.
Well, but
it's not my fault that you believe that Jussie Smollett got attacked. And this is 2018. Got attacked in Chicago by MAGA hat people, and you all went all in. Oh my God, yes, oh my God. He's in Empire. Yeah, I'm very familiar with it. He's really good in Empire. Yeah, that's right. He got gay bash there. How can you say he didn't? Ugh.
But the thing is, we've all now been forced to change our lives because of Juneteenth, because it's now a federal holiday. And I'm kind of curious about this, because I was trying to think, has there been any other federal holiday invented in our lifetimes?
Is MLK Day a federal holiday?
Yeah, I think so. But I think that already existed when I was a kid anyway.
Yeah, no, it was the mid-'80s, so it was new.
Yeah, so, but did it throw people off? Because just based on my interactions, there doesn't seem to be a set process to notify people and figure out the logistics of something being a federal holiday in practice, really.
Well, I assume the state has to adopt it, right? Or not?
Well, so I'm curious about this. So first of all, this impacted us at work because, we have a business that relies on mail sometimes, and so it wasn't built into the forecast that there wasn't going to be mail that day because all the postal workers were off. So it impacted our forecasting, and all this stuff had to be adjusted. A bunch of people in the company didn't know it was a federal holiday. We didn't take it off. I think it was 50-50 with people that I knew, mostly white collar jobs or government jobs where people had the day off. But a lot of people I knew didn't have it off. And then, it was where people were going oh, you off Monday? And some people just didn't know about it, and other people did, and there were logistics. But the best thing that happened was that there were Facebook posts in a Facebook group from the town we used to live in, because they don't do their trash. Everybody gets bumped out a day on the trash on holiday weekends. But this wasn't on the trash company's calendar.
Right.
They didn't put it on there. So I first saw this yesterday. Somebody posted, and so that would be their first day of trash pickup. Why on earth is there trash pickup today? Isn't today a federal holiday? Now, the town does give out to everybody a calendar at the beginning of the year with when the things are, but I almost missed it if I hadn't heard the truck at my neighbor's house. But Chris in this Facebook group is shocked and horrified that anybody would
I think we know what we know what he's sniffing for from post one.
Somebody else goes, it's odd to me too. I hope the workers are getting compensated for working on a federal holiday. Imagine what a bubble you have to be in to not imagine that anybody's working on Juneteenth, which they just invented this year, and half the country still doesn't even know happens.
Right, which also is an odd brand. It's not Emancipation from Slavery Day. That would make sense. No, we have to take the exact terminology that Texas used colloquially to describe what that was, which is from where now, I have no idea. But why make it something you can understand? No, make it difficult, right?
I agree. This is a new federal holiday, and trash and recycling services should have been postponed, as with all other federal holidays. This lack of attention is an insult to those celebrating. And somebody else replied and added, it's reminding me of the resistance to MLK Day. If you're old enough to remember, that was some big deal around the country. There is no one day when everybody is off. Retail and medical have different schedules, but federal and state offices are closed. Trash is delayed. By the way, our trash in this town where we are now is only off like 3 days a year or something. It's like Labor Day, Memorial Day, and Christmas. It's like a really low number. It's not every holiday at all. And then a bunch of people, commented that this is like a private company and they, can do what they want. They don't have to let their workers be off on Juneteenth. Right. It's not required. And some people were saying too that it was like a contract issue, that like the number of the holidays are all built into the contract. And then today, again, there was a post 7 hours ago. Someone posted in the main group, no trash delay, week of 6/20 to 6/24. And a bunch of people started to comment here. Day too late for my neighborhood. We didn't put it out yesterday thinking it was a holiday, and we put it out this morning. Recycling came and picked up. And then somebody else goes, I thought there was a delay and I didn't put mine out. Ugh. City must have read the post and a day late put out the memo that the city celebrates the holiday, but our trash contractor doesn't. So, somebody else goes, little late on that for people who had Monday pickup. DPW screwing up again.
What a town. That's great.
And then, but wait, then finally somebody goes, delay an entire week for Juneteenth?
Uh-oh.
And he said, that's BS. And somebody replied, how is that BS? It is a federal holiday. DPW should have made the change and delayed it one day like all federal holidays. Are you questioning the legitimacy of Juneteenth?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah. So
it's
big
Juneteenth.
drama.
We've always celebrated in my house. As a matter of fact,
why wasn't it like all the other federal holidays? Because they just invented it like last week and nobody even knew. I mean, so apparently they did put it in place last year, but it was like a little bit before so like not everything went in last year. But a ton of people still didn't know about it.
Most people don't know about it.
Unless
it's part of this thing from 2 years ago. It's ridiculous. Oh, I hope you've downloaded and have the latest version of Black Wall Street. Because you know what happened there? The entire black population of the United States was well on its way to being the 1% before there were a bunch of white thugs destroyed it. Did you know that? Well, that's what that was. End of story. Mm-hmm. We want that day, too. Oh, shut up. I'm sick of it. Whatever. I want to go into an important first. My friend Corinne Jean-Pierre, Alice, and I'm starting to think that maybe she is not the best at this.
The president said last week that there's no inevitability around a recession, but there is a greater deal of market concern about exactly that. And I know that inflation is your number one concern, but about if you're doing anything at all to prevent a recession or a rise in unemployment.
So the way that we see this, and you've heard us talk about this, that we're in a moment of transition. We have seen we are in a unique situation with our with the historical gains with our economy. Can
you imagine mixing this messaging like this? We're in a unique situation with the historical gains, all the good stuff that's happening, all the good stuff that's happening. Who is writing this not understanding that anything but empathy right now?
They still think that this is mostly a messaging crisis because they are all message and no content. They don't have any answers. So they think that they just haven't explained it to the American people well enough, how great the economy is doing.
The way that we see it is unemployment rate has held steady at 3.6, which is also near historic lows. Business investment remains strong. Household balance sheets remain strong. There was an analysis that came out recently that showed middle-class Americans had an additional $10,000 in savings then before the pandemic. Another analysis found that all income groups had higher checking account balances at the end of March than they had pre-pandemic. So we see that our economic strength that we have seen from this past year, from the action.
Now, I wonder what trickery that is. Higher checking account balances at the end of March than the pre-pandemic.
At the end of this March?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
By the way,
that could be a lot of...
pre-pandemic is anything before 2020, unless they mean March of 2020.
I think they mean March of 2020, like pre-pandemic March. I mean, I guess that's possible for a variety of reasons. For one thing, they gave out all that stimulus. For another thing, that's tax season, so a lot of people get tax rebates. I mean, I don't know exactly what's going into that. It doesn't mean people are doing better. I bet you also that higher account balances isn't taking into account inflation.
Right.
That the president has taken with the American Rescue Plan, with what we have seen with the historical gains, that is going to help us deal with a recession. Right now, we don't see a recession. Right now, we're not in a recession right now.
She probably will be proved to be wrong on that.
Yeah, recessions are one of those things that you don't know on paper that you're in one until it's been 2 quarters of economic shrinking.
Right.
So right now we're in a transition where we are going to go into a place of stable and steady growth, and that's going to be that's going to be our focus.
Oh, that is tough stuff. To try to just snow right past it is, especially when people hate you as an administration, is not good. Not good. Just because you can have something to say doesn't mean you necessarily have to. And you can also take an L, as they say. Here or there, you could say, we effed up. It would go a long way for people to realize that you care about their pain rather than they're still trying to sell them a used car.
Dealing with what the Americans are facing.
I mean, but people, and I said this before, but there are a bunch of people that we know that are liberals that are all over. Anytime somebody posts on Facebook, they're replying no, Biden's doing a great job. This is Putin's price hike. There's nothing he could have done about that, and things aren't that bad. Saying stuff probably like the people's checking account balances are higher or wages are up or other
scary.
Questionable things. But there are a bunch of people that just download all those talking points and then repeat them like we're all idiots for noticing that stuff at the grocery store is more expensive.
At the pump, which is high prices due to inflation, due to the part of it is the pandemic, part of it is Putin's war on Ukraine and the Putin's tax hike. So
Putin's tax hikes.
I didn't know Putin had that power here.
Apparently he does. Talk about needing to read the small print. Yes, he controls tax policy. Putin's tax hikes are a new thing that we're doing now. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. This computer just is not working.
The pain that American families are feeling when it comes to gas prices. He's
about doing that.
I mean, the president has been very clear in making sure that he does everything that he can to alleviate the pain that American families are feeling when it comes to gas prices.
So, speaking of the grocery store, this lady in North Carolina who's apparently running for Congress, I have no idea what her district's like. It's probably a Republican district. I don't know. But she is running for Congress in North Carolina. Christy Clark, 2022 candidate for NC House. Oh, no, this is the NC House district. Sorry, not even for Congress. She's a state legislator. I lied. Represented North Carolina House, District 98, 2019 to 2020. Mom, paralegal, she, her. Was shopping at Kroger when she saw something extremely disturbing. Yesterday, she was out at Kroger, and she took some pictures, and she immediately, because this is how you register a complaint nowadays, took to Twitter to tweet at Kroger about the very disturbing items she saw for sale in the store. She tweeted, "I am very disappointed that these koozies are being sold in a North Carolina store." Now, on one koozie is a picture of an eagle with a gun, and it says, "Give me liberty or give me death." And on the other one is Thomas Jefferson with a gun, and it says, "Arms change, rights don't." I am very disappointed these koozies are being sold in a North Carolina store. 110 Americans die every day from gun violence, and most recently, children, educators, healthcare providers, and family members were killed in mass shootings. Please remove them.
He was inspired by a koozie. I remember reading that.
And Kroger immediately replied, "Thanks for reaching out, Christy. We will tell our leadership about your request that we remove these items from our shelves. We appreciate your feedback." So, good luck, Kroger. Have a good time. Don't get too excited about making Christy happy, because I guarantee she's not going to then be done telling you what you're allowed and not allowed to have in your store. She's not finished. Once she finds out that she has control over your merchandising department, she is going to have a lot more ideas of what you can and can't have there. So, just to let you know, this doesn't stop with just koozies. But yeah, the koozies are very disturbing and dangerous, and yeah, cause mass shootings all the time, I think.
All right, well, good news, Alice, as you know, as The Hill says, Biden to appoint first Native American to serve as treasurer. There you go.
That's great.
That's
great
right.
news.
Good. We've got a Native American as treasurer. That's what I was looking for in a treasurer. That says it, the title right there. The press release also... talks about the fact that the first Native American is going to serve as treasurer. For the first time, we're going to see a Native American signature on the bottom of bills. That is right where the American people, working people are right now. Mm-hmm. When they think about inflation. You know what? The dollar's worth much less, but at least we've got a signature of a Native American on there. That's what I was hoping. This administration, that they're continuing to do this with regularity, that only this part of the administration is a fine-tuned machine, the woke part, making sure that we give first of everything. And the first, of course, whatever, press secretary is an absolute disaster. That proves that they are true believers. And nobody is talking to anybody saying, stop doing this now. Let's look like we're serious about stuff, okay? Let's look like we're about serious stuff. I don't think... Just don't think about how much times have changed. Mm-hmm. In 2008, we had the first Black American president, and people talked about it less. His administration talked about it much less than anybody now talking about all the firsts.
Right.
I mean, it was, oh my goodness, this is historic. My God, Juan Williams cried. It was an incredible moment and, a rousing speech at the inauguration, and then into the crap we went, and Obama himself, at least in the first term, didn't spend any time patting himself in the back for being the first African-American president. He was a guy who didn't mind talking about himself, but that was not the go-to. This is gross. This is freaking gross, and what a disservice to this woman. What a disservice.
Right.
You're all of your accomplishments here and everything you've earned here. Nope, that goes out the window. You're what we found in your DNA. That is who we're hiring. We're hiring your DNA, not really you or anything you did.
Well, and not even your DNA, because as we found out from Rachel Levine, you can be a first. You can just decide to be something else so that you can get to be a first too.
As much as I hoped that that's a situation here, I don't think it is. I think she checks out, Alice.
I'm not saying that that's what it is. I'm saying,
and by the way,
I'm saying that you don't even need to check your DNA to be a first. You can be a first without having the DNA of the first.
Right.
You can just identify as.
Right. And really, they'll say that we are being disrespectful to her. It's not us.
Yeah.
I'd like to know something more about her, but all we're getting is that it was another identity hire. That's what we did. Patting ourselves in the back. We're happy about it.
Even the Supreme Court one, everybody was saying it was racist and sexist, that people were complaining that he was picking somebody on the sole qualification that they were a Black woman. But we didn't come up with that idea. They're the ones that came up with that idea.
Yeah,
Biden said, just shut up and pick a Black woman and say that this is the person that you want over everybody else, over all the white people and the white men or whatever.
The thing is that they can't leave a plaudit on the table. They want them all. We're going to make the announcement first, so we'd like some plaudits for the announcement. Black woman coming. And then they want to celebrate again for, when they have somebody incarnate, there. Such a
Well,
disservice.
and
What an
they
insult
use
to
it,
those women.
and they use it to like sell themselves for election too, like how Biden in the primaries was like, "I pledge to have a woman VP candidate." Like
How
that's
gross.
supposed to
How-
like
but
convince us,
how-
like, you want a woman VP, pick me. Like
It's so intellectually immature.
I guarantee.
Oh, good. We get to have more girls on our team. Me. It's like, what are you doing? Shut up. It sounds so weak and petty. Ugh, God. Which brings me to Selena Gomez.
Oh, I don't know anything about this.
Selena Gomez is, I don't know, what is she?
A Disney Channel
She's
actress
20
slash
years-
singer.
29 years old. Selena Gomez. I was ashamed to pose naked on album cover. Selena Gomez revealed she was ashamed after posing naked for one of her album covers. It's one of these things where you're like, she's like legs crossed, kind of, where the hair is covering the breasts, and that one of those things.
So you don't see anything.
You don't actually see anything. During the Hollywood Reporter's Comedy Actress Roundtable, Amy Schumer brought up how the only Murders in the Building star was sexualized at a young age. Someone like Selena, who was sexualized at such a young age, but you've just rejected that and have really found your own style and your own presence, Schumer 41 said. Because they know they put you through a system and make you feel like this is how you have to do it. It's really unfair, the 29-year-old singer and actress responded. I actually did an album cover, and I was really ashamed after I did it. Gomez was referencing her 2015 album, Revival. I had to work through those feelings because I realized it was attached to something deeper that was going on, she told Schumer, who will be starring alongside Gomez in season 2 of Only Murders in the Building. It was a choice that I wasn't necessarily happy that I made, but I think that I've done my best. At least I try to be myself. I'm not an overtly sexual person. She added. Sometimes I like to feel sexy, but that doesn't mean it's for somebody else. It can be for me.
I mean, I don't disagree that Hollywood and the entertainment industry sexualizes very young women and exploits them.
Can she shut up? She's a filthy, rich, spoiled, beautiful American girl. Just shut the frig up. I felt uncomfortable in the nude depiction of me with the album covers. I felt uncomfortable. In retro, at the time, I was happy to get all the plaudits we'll use again, and all the oohs and ahs and all the coverage and all the attention. It was wonderful. I was high off of it. It was wonderful. Now that that's faded, and now there's a new way to get high, which is to be a victim, I'll be doing that now. See? Me, victim. Selena, victim. Shut up. God, it's so tiresome. I swear, this all started with The Real World 2, with Puck, who was the first a-hole on The Real World, where he made it very popular to get fame through sheer mouth-breathing stupidity. And I'm not saying like the stupidity like the stuff the guys in Jackass do. They're brilliant. I'm talking about just being a really base, dumb, stupid person incapable of controlling your own urges. You know, these are people who think flatulence is always funny, you know? And then being an idiot just was heralded as the way to get famous more and more. And through the entire thing of the 2000s, through all the reality TV, these dummies in greats and really guttural people got famous. And we all said, yeah, that's good. That's good. You know who we're going to pick as the most eligible bachelor that all the starlets should sleep with and we love as a comedian, even if it doesn't do funny stuff? Pete Davidson's the one we're going to pick. Yeah, we think he's the right one. We've all made that decision, yeah.
That's funny. Did you see the Cruz thing about Pete Davidson?
No. Well, what Cruz?
Ted Cruz?
No.
Went on somebody's podcast and was saying the podcast was about toxic femininity and like crazy women like Amber Heard or whatever, and the like Kim Kardashian got brought up, and he said there's, you know, that he's team Kanye, but you know he doesn't really have a problem with Kim, and Then he was like, but how does he keep getting these women? Because he like also dated Kate Beckinsale, and like he's like, why do women? So then they were saying that that's like part of toxic femininity, that they choose people like Pete Davidson to be with. So it was a whole thing. But yeah, Ted Cruz was astonished that Pete Davidson gets the girls.
It's not great. It's not. I mean, John Mayer, you get. It makes sense. You know, and some guys are just good with girls. Jason Sudeikis, I guess, is like, he's the charming, aggressive guy. And so, you know, whatever. But this too,
Pete Davidson does,
fine.
and like Ariana Grande, he dated too for a while and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. People are also upset that Emma Thompson is playing. You remember the movie Matilda?
I know about it. It's the
So
girl with the nice English hat.
Yeah, so they're
or whatever.
doing that's Madeline.
Oh, okay, whatever. I don't know what that.
No, Matilda is the movie with the girl with the mean headmistress. It's based on a Roald Dahl book. You've seen this movie for sure with our kids, I know. Anyway, so they're doing like a remake of it that's a musical, and Emma Thompson is going to be in it as like the mean, and she's wearing a fat suit for it. So this is a problem. She also, by the way, wore a fat suit in Love Actually, I guess, which I didn't know. Yes. To play the frumpy wife, they put her in a fat suit.
Wow, I thought you looked good in the movie.
I know, I thought so too. Who knew? But anyway, this woman wrote a think piece in the UK at Metro. That when I saw actress Emma Thompson in a fat suit, the shame of being picked last in PE suddenly came flooding back. For Matilda, Thompson has been pictured reportedly wearing a fat suit for her role as the fictional headmistress Agatha Trunchbull. Of course, how else would the film industry portray an antagonist who is evil, ugly, and has a nasty disposition than with a slim actress in a grotesque fat suit? It's so sad at this moment in time, as plaudits continue for Thompson's role in the sex-positive Good Luck to You, Leo Grand. Yet fat suits have been so normalized that some people probably haven't even noticed. And that is what's so frustrating.
Wait a second. So this is appropriating my people.
Yeah. They're upset that, like, instead of hiring a fat actor or actress who could be getting work...
Right.
In Hollywood, they've put another skinny, already rich and famous person in a gross fat suit.
You know, it's actually a small victory.
Victory for who?
It's a victory for the craft of acting. That they put somebody who they figure is better than all the fats that they know at doing this.
Well, that's what the cultural appropriate.
Plus, the Australian chick abandoned ship, right? The one who was in the singing thing, where they all sing?
The singing thing?
Who's the fat Australian actress?
Oh, yeah. Rebel Wilson?
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's
a
left the
skinny
team.
now. Yeah. Yeah.
Adele's left the team. I'm sure she's got acting chaps.
Mm-hmm. It's not the first time Thompson has been pictured in body-altering prosthetics. She was photographed boasting fake bingo wings and jowls for her role in The Legend of Barney Thompson, and it was revealed that she wore a fat suit in Love Actually. You know, the size 16 frumpy comfortable shoe and floor-length skirt-wearing middle-aged wife who was inevitably cheated on? As a bigger woman, I find this characterization of my body type utterly dehumanizing and degrading. It's not ethical, authentic, or representative of any lived experiences whatsoever.
Oh, shut the F up. God, I'm sick of it. I'm more worried about a bigger crime, Alice. NaturalHistoryMuseum.com. There are more male than female specimens in natural history collections.
My goodness.
One of the most comprehensive studies looking into the sex bias in natural history collections has found that among birds and mammals, males are more frequently collected. The work reflects a growing awareness across all areas of science of underlying sex biases in data and their repercussions in the wider world. So there you go. Now, I believe that all of these birds had to be murdered to be in the collection.
So to resolve the sex bias, they need to go out and murder more female birds, honey.
Exactly. All right. Time for the chat, homie?
Let's go.
All right. Here we go.
Hey, Tom, Johnny B. Good's on. I don't got really any questions. Okay, bye.
Did I talk about Johnny B. Good, the movie?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't even know when that
is. This is with Anthony Michael Hall.
Oh.
Now, I know you found him cute in 16 Candles and Vacation, right? he had a change a few years later where he decided to become Alpha Anthony Michael Hall. And it was showcased in Johnny Be Good, where he's a high school football star about to be drafted. So that
I don't know if I want to ruin. Cute,
there is a
Anthony
particular
Michael
scene.
Hall.
He dresses like Prince in it. There's a particular scene where he's riding a bike that's particularly just terrible. It's so 80s terrible. It's awful. It's awful. It's that was a low point of the 80s. His hapless friend who stabs him in the back for a free Jeep is played by Robert Downey Jr.
Oh.
Yes, whose career went south and then north. Oh, no, Johnny Be Good is a tough one. All right, let's see what we got here.
Hey, if my work gave me the day off for Juneteenth, then I think they're waiting until sometime later to tell me about it, which seems appropriate.
That is John and Wokefield.
Do you get it? They're waiting till later to tell me about it, which seems appropriate.
Oh, that is good. I'm glad I missed it. That's good. Smart of you, Alice. Nice one.
That is a good one, John. I like it.
Nice one. Dang.
Hey, Tom and Alice. My brother's getting married over here around the cabins and in the barn on the property. So, Mom and Dad got me moving stones, moving brush, climbing ladders. I'm not a fan of climbing ladders, mostly because I'm afraid of the fall. But sunburn, both arms, scalp, neck. That's the cost of setting up for a wedding. All right, bye.
Oh, you're doing a good thing. You'll always remember the toil that you went through when you and your brother are drinking something that you can bring it up angrily and hold it over him.
That's important to have things like
Can't
that.
we just use the old pronouns like Mr. and Mrs.? Or would that be too simple?
Yeah, can't do that anymore. Mr. and Mrs. is too simple.
No. What about mix?
What about Ms.? Was that just a Gloria Steinem thing, or was that fake? Was that a 60s,
Ms.
70s?
was a thing. Yeah, it was supposed to be if you like weren't Miss whoever anymore.
Oh, you'd broken free from the shackles.
No. Like Mrs. is you're married, and Miss is like you're not married. But if you want to like Ms. is like if you want to be ambiguous, or if you're divorced, or if you like are using your maiden name but still married. Like, I mean, I don't know exactly how it got started, but it was supposed to be like that you didn't have to get categorized into like.
Now you've got so many things.
I feel like
be.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've never liked getting called Miss either, so I sort of understand. Like if I'm in a store and like I'd rather be called ma'am, to be honest with you, than Miss.
We've got more chat VMs, and we'll get to them tomorrow and Thursday. But we gotta get hopping.
All right, yes, it's Taco Tuesday. We're gonna be celebrating with tacos today. Is that still allowed, or is that cultural appropriation?
That is certainly cultural appropriation.
So anyway, we're gonna go culturally appropriate some tacos, and we will talk to you later. You can find us always at burnbarrelpodcast.com, where you can find all the different places to listen. Also on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all those places.